This is the story of a classic sniper who can eliminate his target from miles away, even with a blindfold over his eyes. But this sniper used to be an ordinary math teacher. He hated war and guns with a passion. But one day something happened in his life that turned him from a decent teacher into a merciless sniper. The story begins in a small village in Ukraine, where we are shown a little house. A couple lives in that house, happily spending their life together. The man who lives in that house is named Nikola, and his wife's name is Nastya. Nastya was an artist who carved wood into various statues. Nikola was a teacher and taught math to children at a nearby school. He was a very good teacher, and all the children liked him except one named Evan. Evan was a very rude boy. He troubled his teacher Nikola in class every day. Evan belonged to a rich family, while Nikola was a poor man. Because of that, Evan used to mock Nikola's looks and clothes. He wanted Nikola to lose his temper and hit him so he could complain and get Nikola fired from the school. But Nikola was a very calm person. Nikola didn't care about Evan's taunts and went about his life peacefully. There were no electronic devices like a TV in Nikola's home, so he was cut off from world news. One day while Nikola was at school, he heard on a TV news report that Russia had attacked Ukraine. Many soldiers had been killed, and Russia had captured many parts of Ukraine. In the evening when Nikola returned home, he learned that his wife was pregnant. He was overjoyed to hear that because he was going to be a father. The couple celebrated the news together. The next morning Nikola said goodbye to his wife and set off on his bicycle to teach at school. But while he was on the way, he saw two soldiers smoking and wearing a uniform that looked different. The uniform did not look like that of Ukrainian soldiers, which struck him as odd. Nikola thought perhaps the government had changed the soldiers' uniforms, so he didn't pay much attention and hurried to school. When he entered the school, he found the entire school empty. No children had come. Seeing this, he felt something was wrong. Then, he saw news on TV again saying that Russian soldiers had entered Ukraine to occupy it, and he realized the soldiers he had seen on the road were actually Russian. This thought made him worry about his wife because she was home alone. He immediately got on his bicycle and rushed home, but by then it was too late. When Nikola reached his house, he saw those same soldiers brutally beating his wife. Nikola tried to save his wife, but the soldiers beat him as well. Nikola begged them, "Please don't kill my wife, she is pregnant." But the soldiers paid no heed and continued to beat them both. After a while, a Russian soldier searched Nikola's house and, finding nothing of use, angrily set the house on fire and left. Seeing their house burn, Nastya flew into a rage and picked up a stone to strike the Russian soldiers. A soldier fired a shot at that moment, and Nastya died on the spot. Nikola felt the ground disappear beneath his feet when he watched his wife die. He went to her, cradled her in his arms, and began to sob uncontrollably. A few hours later, two Ukrainian soldiers came to Nikola. They were deeply saddened to see Nikola's wife dead and put a hand on his shoulder, urging him not to lose hope. Then those two soldiers began digging a grave for Nikola's wife and told Nikola to bury her there. After his wife's death, Nikola was completely shattered. Now he was utterly alone. The Russian soldiers had not only killed his wife, but also burned his unborn child and his house. He was now consumed by the fire of revenge and was determined at all costs to kill the Russian soldier who had shot his wife. The only way to take revenge on that soldier was to join the Ukrainian soldiers. So he begged the two soldiers there, "Please take me with you, I want to join the Ukrainian army." The two soldiers agreed, put Nikola in a vehicle, and took him to a military base. Before leaving, Nikola kept the small wooden statue his wife had made, something she had carved to protect him, close to him. When they reached the military base, their senior officer became angry at the two soldiers for bringing Nikola and refused to enlist him because the senior suspected Nikola might be a spy. After the senior got more information from the two soldiers and Nikola explained everything, how the Russian soldiers had mercilessly killed his wife and burned his home, he convinced the senior of his story. He told the senior that he had no reason left to live and that he wanted to kill the Russian soldier to free his country. Hearing this, the senior agreed to recruit Nikola into the Ukrainian army, and his training began the next day. Because Nikola was an ordinary civilian, training was very difficult for him. He had spent his whole life teaching math and had no knowledge of guns. When the other soldiers were assembling their rifles, Nicola was very slow in comparison and was the last to put his gun together. Seeing this, the officer felt Nicola could never become a good soldier. But Nicola didn't give up and kept focusing on his training. One night during training, Nicola told his senior not to call him by his real name because his code name was Raven. Hearing this, everyone laughed at him, and the senior explained that a code name isn't given so easily. For that, a soldier must accomplish something extraordinary for his country. Nicola didn't take their words negatively and instead worked even harder. At night, when all the other soldiers were asleep, Nicola would still practice to learn new things. One day, the senior told all the soldiers that they were short of snipers and needed to increase their numbers to face the Russians. He asked, "How many of you want to become snipers?" Some men stood up, and among them was Nicola, because he also wanted to be a sniper. Seeing Nicola, the other soldiers laughed again. His senior told him, "You're not ready to be a sniper. You can't even properly assemble and disassemble a gun. Forget about becoming a sniper." Nicola replied, "I can become a good sniper. I just need one chance to prove myself." The senior said, "All right, then assemble this gun in under 20 seconds. To prove himself, Nicola blindfolded his eyes, quickly disassembled the gun, and reassembled it again. He completed the task in just 18 seconds. Everyone was shocked at Nicola's speed. Those who were laughing at him earlier now began clapping for him. Even the senior was impressed, and seeing his skill, included him in sniper training. During training, Nicola was given an old rifle while the others got modern weapons. Seeing this, Nicola demanded a modern weapon as well. The senior told him, "If you want that rifle, you'll have to prove yourself." Nicola had no other option, so he accepted what he was given and continued. In training, the senior explained that no matter the situation, a sniper must never move even an inch and must keep his aim steady on the target. To practice this, the senior fired bullets near them, and any sniper who moved from his position was disqualified. When Nicola's turn came, he didn't flinch an inch and kept his aim steady. This way, Nicola passed that training. In the next exercise, the sniper was shown his target only once, and then his eyes were covered with a blackboard. They had to guess the position and shoot. Some soldiers passed this test, but when Nicola's turn came, his shot missed slightly, and he failed. The reason was his old rifle. It was almost impossible to shoot perfectly with it. But everyone knew that if Nicola had a modern rifle, he would have hit the target perfectly. The next training was even harder. The snipers had to shoot their targets in the light of a flare. In the darkness of night, the senior fired a flare, and everyone took their shot, but no one hit the target. Everyone had fired except Nicola. He realized that shooting directly under flare light wasn't possible. So, instead of shooting right away, Nicola calculated the target's distance using the flare's light, and his math knowledge then fired a perfect shot. The senior and the rest of the soldiers were stunned. No one had ever completed this task before, only Nicola did. The senior was very impressed and gave Nicola the code name he wanted, Raven. Days passed as Nicola put his heart and soul into training. Finally, the day came when the results were announced. The colonel saluted Nicola and told him he had passed. A few days later, the colonel told Nicola to pack his things because they had a mission. The news was that some Russian soldiers had captured a checkpoint, and this is where the real story began. Soon, Nicola's team reached the location, set up their aim, and prepared to fire. But just as they were about to shoot, they saw a vehicle approaching the checkpoint. The colonel ordered everyone not to shoot. The Russians stopped the car and ordered the passengers out. They checked their passports and searched the vehicle. When nothing suspicious was found, they allowed them to leave but kept the passports. When the passengers asked for their passports back, the Russians beat them brutally. Seeing this, the colonel gave the order to fire. In one swift strike, all the snipers took out their targets, completing the mission. When they returned to base, Nicola noticed many of his comrades were missing. Worried, he asked, "Where are the others?" He was told they had been sent on another mission. The next day, Nicola learned that many of his comrades had been killed on that mission. They had all been taken out by a Russian sniper named Suri, the best sniper in Russia. Days passed, and Nicola set out on another mission with his team. At the location, they planted mines and took their positions. Soon, Russian soldiers arrived, and with them was Evan, the same boy who used to trouble Nikola in school, now a soldier in the Russian army. When the colonel gave the order to fire, Nikola hesitated because he didn't want to kill his former student. But then Nikola pushed aside his emotions and shot at the landmines, causing a massive explosion that killed Evan along with the Russian soldiers. After the situation was under control, the colonel angrily asked Nikola, "What were you thinking when I gave the order to shoot?" Nikola replied, "Among those Russian soldiers was one of my students. I didn't want to kill him." The colonel explained, "You shouldn't grieve over Evan's death. He was not your student there, he was your enemy. Joining the Russian army was his choice, so you don't need to feel bad." After completing the mission, they all returned to base. The colonel trusted Nikola deeply and spent most of his time with him. He showed Nikola a picture of his family, his wife, and 2 daughters. He told Nikola that his daughters didn't know he was a soldier. He had told them he was a businessman, and even his wife had never revealed the truth. Nikola then told the colonel his own story, how the Russian soldiers had mercilessly killed his wife. Nikola grew very emotional, but the colonel comforted him. The next morning, they set out on their next mission. This mission was important. They had information that a group of Russian soldiers would be passing that way. Nikola and the colonel quickly reached the location and took their positions. Soon they spotted 2 Russian soldiers waiting for their team. Nikola noticed that one of them was the very soldier who had shot his wife, and that soldier was right in Nikola's sights. Here Nikola asked for permission to fire, but the colonel refused. Now Nikola's face turned red with anger, because the soldier standing in front of him was the one who had killed his wife. In fact, Nikola had joined the army only to take revenge for his wife's death, so he asked again for permission to fire, but once more the colonel denied it. This time Nikola couldn't control his emotions, and he pulled the trigger. The bullet struck, and the soldier died instantly. But the bad part was the Russian soldiers now discovered their location. The colonel shouted at Nikola, "What have you done?" And the worst part was that Russia's most dangerous sniper, named Sri, had also spotted their position. The colonel knew Sri was nearby, so he started searching for him. But before he could locate him, Sri gave him a headshot, killing the colonel instantly. At that moment, Nikola realized the huge mistake he had made. Because of his recklessness, the colonel had lost his life. Soon Nikola understood that the Russians had completely locked in on their location. The Russian soldiers opened heavy fire and started bombing Nikola's position. Seeing the worsening situation, Nikola decided to retreat. He carried the colonel's body and began pulling back from his position. Eventually, he made it out of enemy territory and reached his base safely. Nikola was deeply grieved by the colonel's death and blamed himself entirely. There he swore an oath that he would kill Suri and avenge the colonel's death. Soon after, Nikola got intel about 2 Russian snipers and immediately set out on his next mission. He reached his position and took aim. Soon he killed 1 sniper. But during the kill, another sniper shot Nikola in the arm. Even though he was injured, Nikola didn't give up. He pushed through and killed the second sniper as well. Badly wounded, he retreated to a secret base to rest and recover. During this time, he got a call from the army major. The major told Nikola that they had located the sniper who had killed the colonel. Nikola returned to the base, where the major briefed everyone about the sniper. The major said the sniper's name was Suri, and he was the best marksman in Russia. His shots had never missed. Suri had already killed 6 of Ukraine's top snipers, so the major warned they must not underestimate him. The major explained that Suri would usually kill Ukrainian soldiers, record the footage, and upload it online to crush their morale. He said that Suri was a sniper who rarely changed position. He preferred to stay hidden in a fixed location, waiting for his prey. So the Ukrainian soldiers made a plan. They would split into 2 teams and attack Suri's location. According to the plan, the first team would attack the Russian soldiers from the front, and when the Russians got busy defending, the second team would attack from behind. Meanwhile, Nikola would sneak into the building and take down Suri. Once the planning was done, the soldiers headed to the target location. When they arrived, the snipers took their positions and aimed at their targets. Nikola quietly slipped into the building, where he spotted 2 Russian soldiers talking to each other. Without wasting time, Nikola killed them both and pushed forward into the building. After that, he signaled his team, and the moment they got the signal, the Ukrainian snipers opened fire and eliminated all the Russian soldiers. On the other hand, Suri noticed that none of his men were reporting back. He sensed something was wrong, so he went up to the rooftop of the building, where another Russian sniper had been stationed. But when he got there, he saw that sniper already dead. Seeing this, Suri's heartbeat quickened. He realized the Ukrainian soldiers had surrounded him. He contacted his base for backup, but the backup team needed at least 10 minutes to arrive. Hearing this, Suri rushed to his position and started scanning for the Ukrainians. But then, on the table in front of him, he noticed a small statue. It was actually left there by Nicola, a gift from his late wife. Before Suri could figure out what was going on, Nicola suddenly attacked him. Nicola stabbed him repeatedly with a knife, killing him. But during the struggle, another Russian sniper inside the building grew suspicious. Before he could react, Nicola tossed a grenade near him. The blast killed that last sniper instantly. A few minutes later, Suri's backup team reached the building, but they had no idea Suri was already dead. So when they called Suri's phone, it was Nicola who answered. Nicola coldly told them, "You're all going to die." Then he shot the driver of their truck. As the driver fell, chaos broke out among the Russians. They jumped out of the truck, but they didn't realize Ukrainian snipers were already lying in wait. The Ukrainians opened heavy fire, mowing down the Russians one by one. A few days after this mission, Nicola visited his wife's grave. He had finally fulfilled the promise he made to her. He had killed all those responsible for his wife's and the colonel's deaths. At her grave, Nicola swore that he would serve his country until his very last breath. Then he walked away, and with this, the film ends. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and give the video a like.